It's time for this week's Economy Matters with Christoph Schumacher. So, Christoph, are you saying the OCR is too high or too low?
Well, that depends who you ask. If you ask some of the economists of the commercial banks, ASB has announced a rate of around 3% as a natural OCR, meaning this is an OCR that will neither stimulate nor shrink our economy. So if you ask those guys, they'll probably suggest it's a bit too high at the moment. If you talk to the Reserve Bank, they think it's about spot on because they see that a natural OCR is sitting at around 5.5%. But if you look at sort of real-time data now and where a Taylor rule-based OCR should sit to bring inflation back to our target rate, it's a bit too low.
Okay, you're saying 9%.
A Taylor rule-based OCR suggests 9%, but that is the value that we would need if we want to get inflation back to our 1 to 3% mandated target that we have in New Zealand. So it's not a rate that looks at how long it will take. It'll be a rate that suggests implement that rate and we get inflation back to our target.
Right then and there, or within a few days?
In the shortest space that it can. There's always a lag between these adjustments and how it filters through the economy.
The Reserve Bank is attempting to get inflation back in the box. Would you suggest that the current 5.25 is not enough?
Probably not if we are targeting an inflation at around 2 to 3%, because we're still sitting sort of between 6.5% and 7%, and that is still a bit high for our economy at this stage. So the current rate is probably not enough if we want to get inflation sort of back to around the 3% mark.
So the 5.5% peak that they've got penciled in may have to be revised?
Possibly, and I guess the Reserve Bank will check how inflation will track. It is coming down, but let's not forget that some of our everyday items are still skyrocketing. If you see that fruit and veggies, the annual inflation rate is 20%, groceries on average around 13%. Now, these are things that hurt our big pockets every time we go to the supermarket.
Why have you brought up the Taylor rule then? Some people are probably yelling at the screen when you talk about this.
Absolutely, because a 9% OCR would have social implications for all those people who are struggling even to make their mortgage payments as we speak. But it is there as a kind of a reminder of an indicator where it would need to sit if we really believe that 3% is an inflation target that we want.
Who uses this rule?
The Taylor rule guides reserve banks and central banks around the world. It was initially developed in the US, but even the Reserve Bank in New Zealand, Australia, other reserve banks use it as a kind of guideline of sort of where is the upper level, the upper maximum really.
But overall, you're saying, though, that this type of monetary policy comes at a cost.
Absolutely, and if the OCR goes up, we struggle to pay our mortgages. And New Zealanders have way above average personal household debt in the OECD. We sit right sort of in the top margin, which suggests that if the OCR goes up even further, people might not be able to make their interest payments, and then houses are on the line and livelihoods and so on. So there is a social cost of sort of very aggressive monetary policy.
As well, with the financial stability report out this month, did you notice anything stark in what the Reserve Bank was saying there?
Not really. Of course, they are pointing out that things are on track, that inflation is under control, that we are going back to price stability. And that is correct if you look at the CPI overall, but it's a big basket full of 650 goods. So on average, they are on the right track, but the actual cost of living is still very high in New Zealand. It's a very unaffordable place to live, and that's the reality.
Christoph Schumacher, thanks for your time.